Good evening, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to Cambodia Global Dialogue or Southeast Asia TV. Recently, our Prime Minister, like Dr. Hun Sen, attended the World Economic Forum in Hanoi, and he have stressed quite a bit on the challenge as well as the opportunity that Cambodia have to face in the future as related to the fourth industrial revolution, or what we call the Industry 4.0. And tonight I have the pleasure to have a good friend, Dr. Chhieng Vannarith, to come and share his perspective a bit on what he see the next 4 or 5 year Cambodia tackling or benefiting from this so-called industrial revolution 4.0. So Vannarith, welcome.
Yeah.
And anyway, I give you a few minutes to introduce yourself a bit so that the audience know you.
So thank you very much for having me here, and my name is Vannarith Chhieng. I'm now Associate Fellow at the ISEAS-Yusof Ishak Institute based in Singapore. I'm also adjunct lecturer at the Nanyang Technological Universities, where teaching Southeast Asian politics and international politics of the Asia-Pacific regions. And my research focus now mainly on the geopolitics and geoeconomic of the Mekong region, because this region, I believe, is a new growth center and a new strategic frontier of Asia. So I think a lot of attention now moving toward this region. And of course, Cambodia is located in kind of the heart of this region. So that I think a lot of interesting things going to evolve our coming years.
All right. But before you work in Cambodia.
Yes.
With the CICP, right?
Yes.
Center for...
It's a Cambodia Institute for Cooperation and Peace. I was the executive director from 2009 to 2013. I'm still affiliated at the institute as a member of the board and a senior fellow. Yes.
Okay. So basically, you've been think tank all your life, no?
Yes. More than a decade now. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Good. So I think your perspective on the region is quite interesting, because you're Cambodian, but you work here a bit, then you work abroad, so the angle, the perspective is quite of the same thing, right?
Yeah.
From different angle, from a Cambodian, as a Cambodian national, but as an international fellow, academician, involved in regional and global issues, so it's quite interesting. You also taught at LEAD, right?
Yes, I spent 3 years at least teaching international politics of the Asia-Pacific region.
Good. All right, so let's look a bit in retrospect. You mentioned the Mekong, sub-region is quite interesting, because the Prime Minister also in October will attend the Mekong Japan summit in Tokyo. But the Mekong is, I would say, is a center of attraction in a way, because you mentioned it's one of the pole of growth for the sub-region. And there's many different mechanism cooperation, right? Like you have Mekong Japan, I just mentioned. You have the Mekong Lanchang with China. You have the Mekong Ganga with India. We have the Low Mekong Initiative with the US. And we also have the Mekong Republic of Korea.
Yes.
So it's quite interesting. Give me a bit in retrospect, what you see the region?
I think it's evolving very fast over the past several years, and it's going to be faster in terms of speed from now. It's not because of economic interest and connectivity. It is also geopolitical interest. Because it is one of the the key strategic backyard of China. So that
not of Japan.
Not of Japan. Maybe it's a pivot. Maybe a pivotal region for Japan.
Yes.
Of course, geographically, Japan is a bit far,
distant.
So that is the new development, and I think that India may come up more actively in coming years. It depend on the leadership of India. Republic of Korea, in the context of its new Southern Route policy, which put Southeast Asia as one of the core pillars of the foreign policy of South Korea. I think the Mekong obviously will be under that new Southern Route policy. So this is a multi-layer and multi-players kind of field of cooperation as well as competition. So it's going to be very interesting to observe. I think the role of Japan very very significant because Japan and China are the two main economic powers. So if these two economic powers could work together to build regional connectivity, it will serve the interest.
Why can they not work together?
I think the fact that they compete because of more geopolitical interests.
Yes.
Because of the East China Sea dispute, territory disputes, and the U.S. factor in the Indo-Pacific strategy and so on. So Japan find a bit difficult to adjust itself in this context of major power or great power politics, especially between China and the United States. When it comes to Cambodian issue, Japan also faced a certain dilemma, how to adjust its foreign policy toward Cambodia. On the one hand, Japan will be under strong pressure from the US and Europe, when it comes to the issue of Cambodia. But it needs to navigate through this, and because Japan will never abandon Cambodia, and Cambodia give a special privilege to Japan.
Yes, and I think in the context of our talk this evening, which is more about Industrial Revolution 4.0, Japan can play a major role in advancing this Industrial Revolution agenda in our country. What do you think?
That's right. I think in terms of innovation, technological innovation, science, Japan has been the leading flying use model.
Flying use.
Of course, China already surpassed some of the fields, especially when it comes to artificial intelligence and robotics and so on. But we look to Japan as innovation, the leader of driving force of innovations.
Yes.
Because of it open political system and open society, because innovation cannot be developed within a closed society. You need to have more open dialogue, open society to promote innovation, and Japan have that advantage in promoting these innovative ideas. So I myself would like to propose Japan to initiate innovation diplomacy. To these regions.
What do you mean by that?
Innovation diplomacy is the diplomacy part of the soft power projections, but you use science technology as a diplomatic tools to persuade and convince other countries. So that's something that no other country can do. Perhaps in Europe it's Germany, perhaps, but I think in Asia, perhaps Japan have that advantage when it comes to innovation diplomacy.
Yeah, but I would say Japan do not have the monopoly of innovation.
That's right.
China is also quite advanced in that field, and so are the European, so in the context of this, I would say the partnership, intercontinental partnership between Asia and Europe, I see also the role of Europe as being a strong driver of innovation, of technological change. And ultimately, Cambodia is a small country, in my view. We need to be friends to all.
Yes.
We need to capitalize on this relationship between us and strategic partner in the region, but as well with other a little bit far away power,
That's right.
whether it's with the EU or with the US. I still believe that they do bring value add for Cambodia.
That's right. The problem of this economic cooperation, technology transfer is that Japan does not have a tradition of exporting knowledge.
Is that right?
Or innovation that much, because
Interesting.
It's mainly we call a traditional diplomacy. Traditional diplomacy refers to infrastructure developments, trade, investments. So innovation diplomacy is more a kind of very modern concept.
Yes.
I think domestically China have a innovation-driven development model. But when it comes to foreign economic policy, I don't see China put innovation in that yet. Perhaps in coming years, especially in the context of Japan, China, ASEAN, and Langchang Mekong cooperation. But of course, I think when we talk about innovation, this is an area of common cooperations and common interests. There's no conflict over innovations. Right? When we talk about geopolitical issue, it's very difficult to have common ground. But innovation is a new area that Japan, Korea, and China, and ASEAN, and the Mekong country can work together.
Well, I think I could say that for Japan, they have already moved to that innovation in the sense that they are having quite many programs in the soft infrastructure. Like for example, they are in our sub-region, they are looking to assist more on the legal and judiciary cooperation. For example, in the case of Cambodia, it's quite obvious that they've been instrumental to help us get our civil code back, code of civil procedure. This is important, and in the future they are working now to help us reform the code. These are the soft side, but behind that lies what? Lies helping country establish a conducive legal framework, conducive to attract investment, for example, to attract their investment.
I think when it comes to the fourth industrial revolution, I think the risk that we are facing is not only Cambodia, it's job losses and the rising inequality.
Yes.
So innovation, we need to be more inclusive.
Yes.
Right. So some people put the word social innovations.
Yes.
To ensure that innovation will not lead to inequality. And the soft infrastructure that Japan and other countries have given to Cambodia, very critical to build a soft infrastructure to ensure that everyone benefits from this growth.
Yes.
Otherwise, if you let the markets take all,
yes.
I don't think it's going to be a sustainable development. So that's why the role of the state need to intervene into the market to ensure that the fruits of growth are fairly distributed.
But let's be real about it. You know, Cambodia, we're still in an early stage of, let alone fourth industrial revolution, we're still in an early stage. Or maybe to be fair, mid-stage of third industrial revolution. Automation was there, right? But Cambodia is still predominantly an agricultural society. So how do you see we skip the learning curve and immediately, catch the wagon of fourth industrial revolution?
It is irreversible trend.
It's clear.
It is whether you want to get on the train or not.
Yes.
And the speed is very fast.
Yes.
Right? Otherwise, we left behind. We can leapfrog all this. Even though we are agrarian society, but innovation is not only focused on the urban areas. Because innovation and fourth industrial revolution also help the farmers to sell their products, to better produce their higher quality of products and with lower price. Let's say how to reduce the water consumption in producing 1 kilogram of rice, for instance. So it's part of the innovation and technology that we need to study the land, soil, and so on. So I think innovation, if we can use it smartly, it can reduce poverty in rural areas too.
Good. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, I want to dwell more, on the sector that matter to us a lot, which is agriculture, and how can science, technology can help. Us deliver what I like to call the sustainable development goal. How Cambodia can achieve that. Okay, so we'll take a short break. Okay, we dwell a bit more on agriculture. Of course, you mentioned that science and technology can help harness more the power of this scientific breakthrough to help agriculture. You mentioned water, processing, environmental protection, better management of water pollution, for example, that sort of thing, right? It's clear. But to what extent you see that much affecting job loss?
Well, we need to face the reality that we need to reskill, even transform the skills. Of course, when we use automations, we don't need much human labor. And of course, we did increase productivity and the cost and to stay competitive. So we need to find the skills that will be utilized in the future skills. Because some of the jobs will be replaced, definitely will be replaced by machine, artificial intelligence or robotics and so on. So the skill that the machine cannot replace us is soft skills. Interactive skill. Some people may call it interactive skill because this is something that robot could not replace human being. So in addition to the hard skill that we are training, like engineer, medical scientists, and so on, we need to supplement them with the soft skills such as interactive skill, emotional, intelligence, and so on. So that is something that that can help prepare our human resources and skilled worker to transform themselves accordingly. Because I think that's why a lot of people talking about multitask. As human being, you can do different things, and you can adapt and adjust to a new environment.
Yes.
So at first, I think we need to be a fast learner. A fast learner means that you can learn something new very fast in order to adapt to that new environment. So this is something extra to the curriculum that we are designing now for the university, for high school, and so on. We need to think about our extra skill that help people to learn fast.
Yeah. Okay. I want to move back from fourth to third industrial revolution a bit. In fact, what you see in the countryside in the last 4 or 5 years, since we have the rice policy, right, to export, which we did well. We had we export about 600,000 metric tons from 2010, where we barely export 15,000 metric tons. But what you see is a transformation of the agricultural sector, where a Japanese company, they build the farm machinery, Kubota, for example, where throughout the country they have a system where they work with the farmer. Now the farmer, instead of having to plow with their buffalo 2 hectare, they could do 10 hectare. Kubota machinery do all that. The harvesting, the same thing, and certainly productivity goes up. More field, rice has been plow, plant, harvest. So you see, it's there in itself. I see automation. I wouldn't call that fourth industrial revolution, but it's still automation, industrialization who have transformed, right? But I think more, for me, the fourth industrial revolution, I would think more in the factory, in the urban area, where you could have more machinery, more stuff replacing the worker, right?
Yes.
So the reskilling is very important.
Yes.
But in the education sector, which we touched quite a bit, where do you see we are now? Where do we stand now?
It's a mix of even the second and third, because second is about electricity.
Yes.
And we still have problem with electricity. I don't think all the Cambodian people have access to electricity supply yet. Power grid and so on. And then third was in the computer system and so on. And I don't think every Cambodian know how to use computer yet, right? Yes. Digital literacy and so on. So now we go talk about fourth industrial revolution. So this is a great challenge when it comes to skills development, because we are the latecomers.
Which, as a latecomer, we have an advantage of skip.
We have advantage that is we don't have a legacy trap.
Yes.
Because let's say fintech, we don't have many ATMs, so everyone can jump to the fintech, e-banking and so on. So that is advantage. But the problem of Cambodia facing is the lack of clear policy, perhaps from the government when it comes to the digital economy. Of course, the rectangular strategy have mentioned the various parts.
The fourth phase that was launched recently.
On digital economy or to reflect the fourth industrial revolution. But the problem, Cambodia implementations. I think the policy quite sound, quite well designed and developed. But when it comes to implementation, it requires leadership.
Yes.
It requires coordination.
Okay.
If we don't share information between the ministry, between the department, how could we generate innovative ideas and effective solutions?
Yes.
So information sharing, knowledge, governance are very key for the public sector. So that's why I think what Cambodia should do is to promote public sector innovations.
Okay.
So innovation is not only
it's not all about technology. It's about minds.
It's about mindset. It's about decision making, problem solving.
Okay.
This is something that we are lacking: problem solving skill and decision making. So that is of a public sector, and the private sector. They need this kind of human resources, human capital, engineers and so on. we don't have, let's say, engineer in artificial intelligence or digital economy. I think very few Cambodians study digital economy. Perhaps in the next 5 years, have more human resources.
I see more that trend. Yeah. So I think so. Let's go to something quite concrete. In the area of trade. Because Cambodia, nonetheless, we are a trading nation. We from the ashes of war, we rebuild our economy from trade. Having market access to major country, U.S., European Union, and many other developed country. How do you see Industrial 4.0 help us, tap into the trade sector, for example, e-commerce, logistics?
I think the future of trade will become more virtual trade, not a real trade. Those transactions that are taking place online.
Yeah, but you still need goods.
You still need goods, but I think the trend perhaps going to that more toward that virtual products. So that if we still goods is important, but we need to diversify our trading products.
I agree.
Let's say, to be frank, I think textile is a sunset industry.
Yes.
Textile industry. Agriculture perhaps is still important, but I think it's going to be replaced gradually by industrialization and so on.
But people still want to eat good food though. Agriculture that is not polluted, that is not too much chemical, there's not too much GMO. And that's a problem that you see in the world now. A lot of cancer is happening. So I think, look, let's not discount our natural endowment. We're still in 80% agricultural society. But anyway,
That's right. It's still important. But the thing is, look at the rural sector now. The young generation, they don't want to work in the rice field anymore.
Yes.
This is a phenomenon in Japan. Rural Japan is only old people there.
Yes.
So if you don't introduce machine or technology, it's difficult to cultivate
There'll
the
be
land.
migration.
Migration, So that is, we can't stop this trend of either internal migration or migration to work in other countries. Because young generation, they don't want to be a farmers.
Yes.
If they want to be a farmer, maybe a commercial farm, perhaps, which include technology and management skills.
It's true. So how do you see we do that in terms of policy? Should we have a clear policy of rural industrialization?
We need
to be very specific about that.
We need to have a policy on urbanization in the rural area.
Yes.
Because
a development pole.
Development pole of rural areas.
Yes.
Rather than concentrating our production base and chain based on the urban area, we should also diversify our production base into the rural area, which is very critical for long-term sustainable development and rural development.
And decent living.
I
mean, look at the traffic that we're facing because all this rural migration coming to town.
So in the context of the fourth industrial revolution, I think we need to diversify from the urban to the rural area. And connectivity is the term here, how to connect urban and rural area by using technology. At the World Economic Forum in Hanoi, some countries have already developed the Wi-Fi in the rural area, such as Malaysia. Indonesia is planning to do it. So how to make the rural people more connected? Because the farmer they're facing, maybe not only Cambodia, but the case in Indonesia, that one presentation on that is the lack of information, market information. So that is the key for the rural development. Digital connectivity, road connectivity and so on.
But Cambodia, we're quite advanced, no, in terms of telecommunication. We are now at 4.5 or 4 point already, no, in terms of broadband access.
I think, but in the rural area, I don't think we have Wi-Fi. Perhaps the broadband, perhaps the mobile phone, the mobile data.
Yes.
But not really the kind of digital infrastructure.
Okay.
Because mobile phone and smartphone and internet data is just one of the components of the digital infrastructure.
Okay. Well, people talk a lot about industrial revolution. They look at more on the 5.0, right? The 5G. 5G, which they say, oh, it's not just like a 4G or 3G. It is an ecosystem in itself, the Internet of Things, and so many other things. How do you see Cambodia in the next 5 years? You think we can move to 5G? Because I think that's a condition precedent to move into industrial revolution.
No, the thing is how smart we use technology. Either we use technology to increase our productivity,
yes,
or we use technology for other objectives, such as entertainment.
Yeah.
So that is
unfortunately, a lot of our kids now use for entertainment, taking a picture of a birthday cake.
So that is the people need to be educated how to use technology smartly and how to increase productivity.
Give me an example.
For example, the way we use mobile phones, the way we use social media. We want either we use it for our knowledge accumulations or to improve our understanding, or we just use it for entertainment and for sometimes to show off, you know.
Yes.
So on. So that is a social meaning, a social objective. But we need to increase the component of knowledge, gaining knowledge, information, and so on.
Yes. Okay. All right. One more break, and when we come back, I want to look more into the future. What sort of policy we should have in place? More focus, sectoral, focus, and hopefully you can share with us a bit. What should be those policies. All right. But one of the great asset that Cambodia have is a young population, very young. Most people that work, particularly like for example in the studio, is all electronics, sophisticated IT gadget. Average is 20, mid 20, and throughout the economy, you're dealing with that age, where you have people who are very, I would say, agile, quick learning, into particularly anything to do with IT. This is, to me, I think, is our asset. How do we go about developing a strong policy and implementation so that we can nurture this generation so that 5 years down the road, they are able to help uplift the country through their technological capability, right? Because at the end of the day, you still need human people to do it. Yeah. How would you see that?
I think there's a quite consensus in terms of policy from the regional countries at the World Economic Forum. They all emphasize on human capital. Cambodia, Myanmar, Vietnam, especially Vietnam. Vietnam, the policy to empower the youth. How to empower them? Give them knowledge, give them technology. Knowledge and technology are the tool to empower the youth and the young generation. Cambodia, in terms of the remark of the leaders at that forum, also emphasize human capital development. And it need to come to educational reforms. And I think we still have problem now, right? When it comes to educational reform.
I think we come a long way.
We're a long way, but
we still have a few more yards to go.
The recent development somehow send quite a signal that there's still some problem within the education. So that is a challenge, but I think it's on the right track. But the problem is the speed. Let's say vocational training. How many vocational training school and the quality of that vocational training and what skill are they studying? Because this is depend on parent education also. Whether parent want to send their kids to 2 years vocational training or 4 years, because they feel 4 years more prestigious. They work in office and so on. So that is social knowledge and social understanding of the importance of vocational training and skills that they need to be equipped for the future industry. So that is, it's not only the state alone, but I think the society as a whole need to give more value to this kind of vocational training and skill development. And come to the private sector. To be frank, we don't have a strong industry-university partnership so far.
Okay.
So the private sector seem to, they always complain they don't have enough human capital, human resources. But the problem why they don't build the partnership with the university.
Yes.
And give short-term training and give internship or on-the-job training.
You know, I want to share an experience I went through, you know, because last year I went to give a lecture in China at Tianjin Sino-German University of Applied Science. And there they showed me that when China opened up, German company came. But German company realized that I need, you know, Chinese workforce that can, you know, assemble Audi, Mercedes with their Siemens technology, that sort of thing, right? Bosch. So what they do, they start that so-called partnership there, where they invest into the institute, that university there, all their technology, everything is German technology. The Chinese worker come, study, get a certificate, and then straight to work for a German company. Right? 20 years later, now they build enough. So the German company have enough labor force. The school become a normal school open to the worldwide, participation. And Cambodia have 40 some students now who have scholarship to study there. But this is a good example how, you know, company would invest their own money, their own technology to train people who are going to work on their technology.
That's right.
Why can we not do in Cambodia?
One more thing, that's important. And one more thing is need to force perhaps sometime technology transfer and knowledge transfer. China very smart. They force foreign company.
Yeah, but
it's a bit tricky. But and
that's why the West now is keep saying that that model is that force model. They're not happy.
But how can we absorb knowledge? If we don't encourage multinational company to transfer some knowledge and technology.
It's an IP issue. So here, back to the ecosystem that we must have a strong IP, intellectual property protection. You know, all the law there is clear. But how in the field of IP, there's so many other law that we need to have in place, like integrated circuit, for example. We don't have it yet. We have the basic IP law like patent, industrial utility. We have trademark, copyright. We have the basic one, right? But in terms of technology, there's a few more that we need to put in place. But it's more the capacity building of our official to understand foremost what it is, right? And that required a strong engineering technical background, right? Which unfortunately many of the Cambodian parents love to send their kid because they want their kid to work in an office setting with a nice office environment, but that don't bring job.
Yes. The fourth industrial revolution, of course, we understand it may lead to the jobless growth. The jobless growth. It means you have a high growth, but you don't generate jobs.
Yes.
That is the risk that I think Cambodia need to find a strategy, develop strategy to face the jobless growth. Or to create jobs. How to create jobs.
I don't think it's a dramatic for a rural economy like Cambodia. I mean, maybe for Singapore or something like this. But Cambodia, we still have vast area of land that require people to work. We have 600,000-700,000 hectares of rubber plantation. Now we have another 500,000 hectares of cassava plantation, sugarcane, rice. So I think the agriculture is still there. They still need a lot of workforce. But how to make that sector more performing by using, I would say, more skilled worker, for example, so you get more productivity. But I think that sector can still absorb quite a bit of workforce. Whether the people want to work there is something else.
Yes, that's right. Look to the future again. I think some of the public policy reforms need to be directed to the new or future economy. Perhaps we need to, I don't want to add another mechanism or council, but I think perhaps it's important to form a new economy council to discuss a future economy and bring the heads and from different sector and to discuss. It's an ad hoc base or informal base, and develop a policy recommendation to the government in order to.
But we do have a national, I don't know, National Science Council or something.
Yeah, but I don't know. I haven't read any outputs yet.
All right. So that's a good point. We need to have capable, performing council that understands science technology.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And I think another policy, perhaps when it comes to education, is this university-industry partnership.
Okay.
That need to be further strengthened and promoted.
Okay.
And need to find. I think we should have a role model that we can follow. As the example you mentioned, the case of China. Right?
Yeah.
And I think from within our region should have some role model that we can look up to learn. And within Cambodia itself, perhaps we have some university that having that project. But the problem we don't know much, because in terms of knowledge sharing is limited. That's why at the forum in Hanoi is one proposal to create a knowledge platform at the ASEAN level. Because when it comes to innovative idea, we need to share knowledge. Sometimes certain community have very interesting, innovative knowledge, but it doesn't share with other communities. So it's a waste of resources, knowledge resources. So why we don't build a knowledge platform to connect all the community in Cambodia and between Cambodia and the region, and to share all this knowledge? So that's why we don't need to reinvent the wheel sometimes, because the knowledge is already there, but we just share it.
And with technology, the sharing is very easy. And that's why we're talking a lot about connectivity. Is not all about the travel and everything, but the connectivity is the people to people, the knowledge sharing, that sort of thing. Knowledge connectivity. We are in the ASEAN economic community already. Let's face it. So the will to connect is there already. Anyway, we're running out of time, so I want to give you a minute to. What's the message? Tell the message to our audience.
My message is to Cambodian stakeholders is we need to be prepared to face more challenges ahead of us. We should not take things for granted. We need to keep reforming and open our minds to new ideas, and keep innovating all the time, finding new solutions to new problems, because problem yesterday and problem tomorrow is different. Different problem need different solution. So all solution cannot address new problems. So Cambodian stakeholders need to be prepared to find new solution all the time.
Good. Well, Vannarith, I want to say thank you for coming and share your perspective on the challenge and opportunity of the Industrial Revolution 4.0. Let me just try to wrap up what we have covered. I think what I got from our exchange is that Cambodia must embrace foremost technology, science technology, because the Industrial Revolution is the effect, but the initial cause we have to embrace from the education side. Starting from not necessarily at university level, have to start much younger, right? Because by the time you get to university, it's late already, right? So parents need to think more where they should send the kid. Don't force them to just dream about having an office, wearing suit and be an accountant. There's enough accountant, there's enough economists, there's enough lawyer, but we don't have enough scientists, we don't have enough software engineer, we don't have enough application engineer, that sort of thing. So embracing technology should start early, right?
Yes.
Number two, if I get it right, a strong policy, strong sectoral policy focusing on science, be able to deliver, to harness the power of different ministry knowledge so that you can share, right? And ultimately is a public-private sector partnership between university and company, and hopefully they can, bring together the synergy for that. Last, I think, if I recall, is policy implementation, right? So I think that's a lot. That's a lot for that. And I think there's a lot of work for the next 5 years. but we're on the right track, at least from the Prime Minister intervention at the World Economic Forum. He has set a very clear vision already how he sees the opportunity, challenge for Cambodia in terms of this fourth industrial revolution. So let's just focus on that. The recently launched rectangular strategy phase 4 has highlighted quite a bit on that policy direction. Let's work on that. So on that note, good night, and I'll see you next week.